everyone, and welcome back to the launch pad. It's been a while. I hope everyone has been doing well. So today we have an exciting stock to look at. It's Pacific Green Technologies Group. This is an environmental sector investment, and as many of you know, that's a sector that I've paid a lot of attention to lately, and as you may know also, I'm not the only one who's been paying attention to it. So let's get into it. First thing I want to talk about here in the investor's presentation, and this is a presentation made in March of 2020, is the current order book. So the current order book is basically an aggregate of all contracts and intents the company has to provide services. Now, Pacific Green has a current order book in excess of $200 million. Now that is pretty dang close to their valuation, which is kind of ridiculous. So let's keep going. They have also a strong venture partnership with Power China, which I believe to be one of the largest EPC contractors in China. I'm actually not sure if you could say it's one of the largest in the world, but I'm not sure. So let's look here. We have a bit about their acquisitions. So we have an acquisition of Engine, which is Chinese-based environmental technologies, mostly solar power, I believe. Here are some of the projects that are currently happening, and I did look into these, and they do definitely appear to be very real and very much in operation. So now let's look at some financials here. We have, first of all, again, that order backlog of just over $200 million. Then we notice here 45% insider ownership. That's pretty bananas. That's almost half. You really don't see insider ownership like that on the OTC markets, or any stock markets for that matter, very often at all. And here we have the public float of 25 million shares. That is another plus for me. I like low float investments. They tend to move relatively quickly, especially when they catch attention. So let's look at some of these group divisions. We have marine technology, air technology, solar technology, and water technology. On the right over here, you're going to see a bunch of what I think are kind of tentacles, I guess I would put it that way. So they operate on a smaller scale and in harmony with the rest of these subsets of the company. So let's keep going. I'm not going to get into all of the technical stuff about their equipment. What I really just want to show is some of the pictures of these plants. So you see here I have highlighted some of the city names. Well, not cities, but whatever these are, places, provinces. And they have pictures of the solar plants. So what I did, just to make sure that these are legitimate, is I found slideshow from the Institute of Electrical Engineering at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. And what I did was I actually found every single one of these projects that they list highlighted right here on the right. I found them on this map. So that leads me to believe that I have sufficient evidence to believe this is not a scam. And I just wanted to show everyone that. So as always, I'm going to link this presentation below my video, and anyone interested can check it out. So let's get into let's take a look at the ticker itself and the stock structure and whatnot. So you can see we are completely verified as of January 2021. Everything is all good legally speaking. We have a market cap of 131 million right here. And again, if you remember going back to the presentation, we had an excess order book of $200 million. So the current order book is actually more than the market cap of the company, which is not something you see all that often. Now, as you may or may not know, when looking at the float of any given stock, it's hard to find consistency, especially the OTC markets. Depending what you're looking at, the float is going to probably be a different number. So if you remember from the presentation, we had $25 million float, 25 million shares, sorry, and OTC markets is telling us it's a 5 million share float. So either way, that's a pretty low float. If it's in between, somewhere in between that range, I like that a lot, without a doubt. Now let's look at some recent news for the company. Most notably, we have independent director recently appointed, Peter Rosbosch, and this was effective February 1st, 2021. He's worked in the renewable power sector since 1985. So my opinion on this is that things are starting to scale up for them in a big way, and they want an industry veteran to come in as independent director and guide them through the scaling process. I take that as a good sign. Now, over to the technical side. Let's get rid of that watch list. Let's take a look at the weekly chart here. So, as you can see, since right around 2015, we have really just been range bound. Very low volume shown here. And it's perked up, but now we're really seeing some real volume. So when we go into the daily chart here, what we can see is that we've come up from right around $1, and we're sitting at about 285 right now. And if you're familiar with technical analysis, you know that people often like to draw what are called flags, which are something like this. Now, the basic prediction for a flag is that price will bounce up and down between the two flag posts until it hits an inflection point. And in our case, we are thinking it's going to go up from there. However, flags sometimes do something like that. But that is just a lesson in what a flag is. So anyways, here's why I consider this a good buy point for this stock. You see here we shot right up to about 450, and we didn't like it. We came right back down. Now, volume has been steadily building. You can see volume here is much larger than it was in December and very much larger than it was in November or October. So what this means is that people are accumulating, and they're doing so slowly, but with such a small float as we saw earlier, this thing can take off, and it can do so quickly. So with that being said, the next thing we're going to look at is a quick model that I made for this company. It's a cash flow model, and it gives a 3-year projection as well as an intrinsic value. Okay guys, so here it is. This is a discounted cash flow model for PGTK, Pacific Green Technologies. So as you can see here, current share price, made this about a week ago when I got invested, and that was around $2.50. Here we have revenue for this year and last, and first of all, let's notice this absolutely humongous jump in revenue. 2019 revenue of $207,000. Revenue in 2020, $130 million. That's a percent change of over 6,000. Now, respectively, the percent change of the cost of revenue shown right there is almost up $4,000. So that leaves us with a gross profit that's increased by 2,800%. Now, I'm not going to explain every cell on this. Basically, what you need to know is that we are given an intrinsic value of $2.62. So a good practice is buying securities that are below intrinsic value. With intrinsic value, there's not necessarily a right or wrong answer. It really depends how you do the math behind it. So if you believe in your calculations and you're buying below what you think is the intrinsic value, that is generally a recipe for success. Now we have the terminal value right here of $14.21, and this is a 3-year projection. As you can see, I'm going to 2023, so I guess a 2-year projection you could say now. But this is saying that by 2023 we are expecting a price per share of just over $14. Now that gives us a very nice return on investment for a 3-year time span, and it is my opinion that with stocks like these, especially low floats, they can reach their terminal value much faster than the models project. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you find some value in it. Everyone have a